We're going to call the Wednesday, October 6th, 2021 Board of Education meeting back to order. Everyone please silence your electronic devices and we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Additions and deletions to the agenda since Friday mailing.
Yes, we will have the addition of 6.10, 6.11, and 6.12 will be creating the positions of a custodial worker, senior keyboard specialist, and 2 full-time nurses. We'll have personnel considerations. We'll be adding a building aide. I'd like to make a correction to 7.17 to reflect that it is regarding a family medical leave. And we'll be adding 8.1 information items regarding a student teacher, and they will all be reflected on my minutes.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion? Mrs. Hoteling, second. Mr. McFerrin, all in favor? All right. Need a motion for the acceptance of the minutes of the September 15th, 2021 BOE meeting. Mr. McFerrin, Mr. Hislop, all in favor? All right. And we are going to move right into a special presentation for Student Recognition Awards.
Prepared for the board in the first 3 rows out there. If they're all taped off, you want to go out and sit, and they'll bring the screen down and we'll be able to see the presentation together. Since we're all out here now, right? So you can still see the screen and still speak to our stage. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Great.
Good evening and welcome to our Board of Education Recognition Awards. I'm Lisa Paterni, I'm the high school principal, and it's my pleasure to be here this evening. So we always talk about partnerships and partnerships with families and with the community and all of us working together to help our students be successful. One of the things that we talk about with students and one of the things that we do as part of our job here at RCS School District is to prepare our students for the 3 E's, to be employed, enlisted, or enrolled. Employability is what our goal is, our end goal for all of our students. How many of you have seen palm trees in a storm or under high winds? So unlike other trees, the palm trees bend. Some of them go all the way to the ground, and when the storm is over and when the winds stop, they bounce back. So clearly, the past 2 years, we have been in a storm. But like the palm tree, we bounce back when the winds and the pressure stops. Our students have been some of the most resilient students that I've seen in my career. It has been unbelievable to watch. I'll just give you an example. How many of you were at the Friday night homecoming game? Okay, some of you have. We did this with students today and the majority of them were there. And that was after We had 2 fire alarms go off. We had the fire department here twice that day. And then all of the lights went out at the football game. It was their homecoming. We couldn't get it fixed, and we had to get up and make an announcement in the stands. Now, that could have gone in another direction pretty quickly, but it didn't, because our kids are resilient, and we have wonderful kids here. And I am so proud to be the principal of this building with the students that we have in our midst. We had kids standing up, "Get quiet, Dr. Paterni has to make an announcement." We had kids helping other kids get out. They cleared the stands very quickly. They did it in an organized manner. They called their parents came and got them. So I had an hour-and-a-half ride ahead of me after that game, and it was a very stressful day. But upon reflection, what I took away from that was, wow, we have some very resilient kids that are wonderful. So all of you should be proud that you are the parents, the teachers, and those of us that have the opportunity to work with this great group of students. Mr. Tedford's going to talk a little bit about some of the wins that we have faced.
So what are some of the high wins that we had to face in 2020, 2021? So I need to recap. Okay, cohorts. We had yellow and green cohorts. Students were coming into school for 2 days and then doing remote for 2 days. It was called virtual learning. They had to do the half-day schedule. So basically they did periods 1 through 5A, and then the next day they did period 6 through 5B. Students were meeting their classes every other day. Students were isolated. They were not interacting with students or being social. At one point, we had 290 students in grades 8 through 12 that were doing remote learning. We lost the activity of sports. Sports wasn't played until the spring. So these were some of the high winds that we had to withstand. And if you remember, there was a 4 or 5 week period around November, December, where we weren't even in school at all. No students were in school because of isolation. What were some of the interventions we did during these high winds? And a lot of these, we came in with the motto of whatever it takes. You know, we did parent meetings, we did social worker reach out, principals were reaching out, teachers were reaching out. We were doing tutoring in person and virtual. Our APEX program, which is our credit recovery program, and getting students through, and we'll talk a little bit more about that on our summer program and how we got kids through. Students through in that program. We also did many boot camps at the end of the quarter. Kids were able to make up assignments and get the passing grades. So again, making those connections not only with the students but with the parents and doing whatever it takes to get them through.
Despite all of our efforts, we did have one of the lowest graduation rates that we've had in the last 4 years. So our graduation rate was 87%. We lost 4 students last year, and a couple of them transferred in. They were transfer students, but that does count against us. We had, over the course of 4 years, 6 additional students dropped over the course of 4 years, and we have 7 that are currently enrolled. So their expectation is that some of them will graduate this January, others will graduate in June. The good news is that with the new ESSA, the way the state rates us, they will count the 5th year graduation. So we do have 7 students that will be hopefully graduating this June. Celebrations are one of our goals last year, was to have at least 89% of our enrolled students attain 5.5 credits or meet graduation requirements. And you can see that, if you look at 9th and 10th grade, those went up from 83 to 93 and 81 to 89. That's significant in the 9th and 10th grade, because when you lose a student in 9th grade, if they fail, if they don't get that 5.5 credits, they have a 50% higher chance of dropping out. So we're very excited about that. Overall, we had 92% of our students get 5.5 credits or meet their graduation requirements. Our summer school intensive was extremely successful. Mr. Kerrigan, who was our Apex coordinator, he ran our summer school program for us. We had some amazing teachers that taught a large variety of courses. We had 30 students enrolled. All 30 students received credit. Out of 44 credits that could have been recovered, 43 were recovered. So only one student, instead of passing both his Apex classes, he only passed one. But that's a pretty significant success there. Based on that, we got 19 students who were able to get a Regents exemption, and 2 students were able to graduate in August because they went to our summer school intensive. So a big shout out to our teachers and Mr. Kerrigan for the summer school intensive. Now we're going to celebrate our seniors who at this point in their career, going into their senior year, have already completed they've already got the criterion for their advanced Regents diplomas. So hopefully they're with us this evening and they will see their name and their picture up on the screen. And in addition to receiving to get an advanced Regents diploma, the student has successfully completed the requirements for a Regents diploma, which is passing 5 exams, plus the student has also passed 3 additional Regents exams and has completed a sequence. And a sequence could be 2 additional units of world language and successfully passed the Checkpoint B exam, 5-unit sequence in art, or a 5-unit sequence in career and tech education. So I'm excited to start our awards. Our first student is Nicholas Abrams. Nick has his advanced Regents. He earned 3 post-secondary credits, which means he has 3 college credits. Congratulations, Nick. Nick Algazine, he has his advanced Regents, 3 post-secondary credits. He earned an AP score, one of his AP classes. You can get between a 1 and a 5, and he scored 3 or higher, and he received mastery, which is 85 or above, on 3 of his Regents exams. Noah Algazine. Jordan Bartlett, advanced Regents, 2 post-secondary credits, 1 AP score of 3+, and 2 mastery scores on Regents exams. Congratulations, Jordan. Nicholas Bonilla. Nick has his advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits, 1 AP score of 3+, and 1 mastery score on Regents exams. Eric Chapman, advanced Regents, 4 post-secondary credits, 1 mastery score on his Regents exam. Congratulations, Eric. Shannon Shatanoff, advanced Regents, 2 post-secondary credits, and 2 mastery scores on her Regents. Congratulations, Shannon. Scott Connors received his advanced Regents. Congratulations, Scott. Tyler DeMarco, advanced Regents, 1 post-secondary credit, 2 AP scores of 3+, and 1 mastery score on her Regents exams. Congratulations, Tyler. Madeline Dewsbury, advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits, 2 AP scores of 3+, and 4 mastery scores. Congratulations, Madeline. Lydia Hummel, advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits, 4 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Lydia. Kaylee Howe, advanced Regents, and 2 post-secondary credits earned. Skylar Hislop, Advanced Regents, 3 post-secondary credits, 1 mastery score on Regents. Congratulations, Skylar. Catherine Johnson, Advanced Regents, and 1 post-secondary credit earned. Congratulations, Catherine. Isaac King, Advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits, 2 AP scores of 3+, and 4 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Isaac. Jeffrey Lawson, Advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits, 2 AP scores of 3+, and 1 mastery score on Regents. Congratulations, Jeffrey. Carly McBrien, Advanced Regents, and 2 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Carly. Matthew Mason, Advanced Regents, 1 post-secondary credit, and 2 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Matthew. Jaden McClellan, Advanced Regents, 4 post-secondary credits, and 1 mastery score on Regents. Congratulations, Jaden. Molly McFerrin, Advanced Regents, 6 post-secondary credits, 1 AP score of 3+, and 5 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Molly. Nasir Miller, Advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits, 1 AP score of 3+, and 3 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Nasir. William Miller, Advanced Regents, 6 post-secondary credits, 1 AP score of 3+, and 3 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, William. Michaela Morris, Advanced Regents, and 1 post-secondary credit earned. Congratulations, Michaela. Maria Morrow, Advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits earned, 1 AP score of 3+, and 2 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Maria. Michelle Norton, Advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits earned, 1 AP score of 3+, and 3 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Michelle. Sophia Orsino, Advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits, 1 AP score of 3+, and 3 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Sophia. Catherine Pagnotta, Advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits, 1 AP score of 3+, and 4 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Catherine. Madison Pike, Advanced Regents, and 1 mastery score on Regents. Congratulations, Madison. Melania Quinto, Advanced Regents, and 1 post-secondary credit. Congratulations, Melania. Lauren Reveley, Advanced Regents, 6 post-secondary credits, 1 AP score of 3+, and 1 mastery score on Regents. Congratulations, Lauren. Renee Rivers, Advanced Regents, 3 post-secondary credits, 1 AP score of 3+, and 2 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Renee. William Robertson, Advanced Regents, 4 post-secondary credits earned, 1 AP score of 3+, and 3 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, William. Tanisha Seals, Advanced Regents, 4 post-secondary credits, and 1 AP score of 3+. Congratulations, Tanisha. Adam Smith, Advanced Regents, and 1 Mastery score on Regents. Congratulations, Adam. Ryan Southworth, Advanced Regents, and 1 post-secondary credit earned. Congratulations, Ryan. Allison Stewart, Advanced Regents, and 2 post-secondary credits earned. Congratulations, Allison. Brianna Struck, Advanced Regents. Congratulations, Brianna. Juliana Tarango, Advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits earned, 1 AP score of 3+, and 3 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Juliana. Carice Trim, Advanced Regents, and 1 mastery score on Regents. Congratulations, Carice. Gavin Trustclair, Advanced Regents, 4 post-secondary credits, 1 AP score of 3+, and 4 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Gavin. Uchenna Uba, Advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits, 3 AP scores of 3+, and 4 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Uchenna. Chesney Waddingham, Advanced Regents, 1 post-secondary credit, 1 mastery score on Regents exams. Congratulations, Chesney. Regina Ware Salazar, Advanced Regents. Congratulations, Regina. And Aiden White, Advanced Regents, 5 post-secondary credits, 2 AP scores of 3+, and 4 mastery scores on Regents. Congratulations, Aiden. Sienna Williams, Advanced Regents, 3 post-secondary credits, and 1 AP score of 3+. Congratulations, Sienna. Congratulations to all of our recipients this evening. You worked hard, it paid off, and we are extremely proud of you. Thank you. Before we end, we're just going to share our goals of 21-22 school year. This is something that our building leadership team is working on. At this point, we'll talk a little bit more about maybe raising that number up a little bit at our next meeting. At least 89% of our enrolled students will attain a 5.5 credits or meet graduation requirements. We gave a survey last year, a climate survey that schools are required to give. So some of our results we were a little concerned about because we weren't here. You heard, Mr. Tedford talked about the winds. So we're talking in our building leadership team about giving that survey again to have a baseline and then maybe doing it again in the spring. We're working on that in our BLT, and our hope is to increase the number of positive statements on that climate survey and then increase our student attendance rate. And when we're talking about attendance, we're talking about connections that they have, getting them here, not just physically, but getting them engaged, getting them to participate. So those are some of the things that we'll be working on with our building leadership team. And our high school and our student support team services are focused for 2021-22, which is based on the community forums that we have had over the past several years, as well as our budget advisory committee that we had in the spring. Some of the things that we'll be working on will be to give students more opportunities in career exploration, including in the earlier grades. Give students the opportunity in leadership and personal development, and give students the opportunities to connect their classroom work to their community. Students will have access to more electives, thus enriching their educational programming. We have some of our departments that are working on new electives for next year. Our multi-tiered systems of support as a framework for continuous improvement. Those are some of the interventions that we talked about earlier. We will continue to do those for students, and students will be able to read, process, and apply their understanding. One of the ways that we're hoping to incorporate some of this into our work is through our Career Cafe. Today we had what we called a soft opening. So our furniture has not arrived yet. Some of it won't even be here till December because of all the back orders. But in our Career Cafe, our grand opening, we're hoping to have after the holidays when all of our furniture is in, and we will have makerspace, projects of interest for students with electronics, robotics, backward design. We'll offer workshops. We're actually going to be offering workshops prior to the grand opening. We're starting with workshops with our National Coalition Building Institute, which will be, I believe, October 21st and 22nd. That will be the first workshop that we have, and that will be addressing student diversity. It will be a train the trainer for students, so the students will get trained, and then they'll run some workshops for other students. But we're hoping that, students will be able to have the opportunity to do public speaking and theater and poetry reading, have open mics. We're going to have a stage in there. We're waiting for that portable stage to come in. They'll be able to work on collaborative projects, and we'll have speakers from the business world hopefully coming in, business owners, financial agencies, the military, etc., all in alignment with our 3 E's. We'll have a student-run school store and cafe. Students and faculty will be able to buy snacks and drinks to enjoy while they're working on their projects. They'll be working in the cafe in the hopes of learning and strengthening their customer service, and as part of their work-based learning program that they're working on with Mrs. Martin. They'll earn credit for volunteering and completing the curriculum, and they'll have opportunities to give feedback on their likes and dislikes. It is our hope to strengthen the community and collaboration, conversation, and self-exploration, and identify goals for student success. Thank you. Thank you.
No. Is Chris going to get up and do a
Yep.
Joanne presentation, right, Chris?
Yep. Please.
Okay, our next presentation is from Marvin and Company for our external audit.
All right, thank you. For those of you who may not remember me, I'm Chris Healy. I'm the manager responsible for overseeing the audit of the district's financial statements, including the Extra Classroom Activities Fund, your single audit over your federal awards. We met on Friday with the audit committee and went through your draft report in great detail, so I will spare everybody flipping through the 75-page document, and I'll give you the high-level summary. So the district engaged us to perform an audit of the financial statements. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of those financial statements, including the design and implementation of internal control. Our responsibility is to express an opinion on the financial statements based on our audits, and our audit involves performing procedures on a test basis based on our professional judgment of where the risks of material misstatement lie within your financial statements. There is a new standard that was required to be implemented this year. It was GASB Statement Number 84. That was related to fiduciary activities. So there's some additional language this year in the audit report and throughout your financial statement document that refers to that change. In our opinion, is not changed with respect to that matter, which is the standard language that you would expect. It means that that standard was implemented in accordance with the guidelines. We will be issuing an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that we can provide. It means that we believe your financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects. We have no internal controls findings over your federal awards or over your main district financial statements. As a reminder there, we consider your internal controls, but we do not express an opinion explicitly on those internal controls. We do have one finding related to noncompliance and other matters that we're required to report, and that's related to compliance with the real property tax law as it relates to your unassigned fund balance being in excess of 4%, which is the legal limitation. That is not an uncommon finding, especially this year, with all of the uncertainties in the state budget and district budgets. We're seeing that this is a fairly common issue this year, that districts were under budget based on the changes that they had to make and have a surplus in their fund balance. I think the focus continues to be, moving forward, what the plan for utilizing, that fund balance is. And I know, the district does have plans for how to do that. So that's included in that report as well. Our single audit, so because you expend greater than $750,000 in federal awards, you're required to have the single audit. The major program that was tested this year was your special education cluster, and we believe that the district complied in all material respects with the compliance requirements of that program, which again is the highest level of assurance we can provide. We audited your extra classroom activity fund in accordance with the cash basis of accounting, which is the standard for that. We'll be issuing an unmodified opinion on that. A few minor recommendations based on the nature of those funds. That's very common to have a few recommendations based on the level of student involvement, which we went through with the audit committee as well. So I think that really summarizes the high level of the audit. Overall, things went very well. I just want to say a quick thank you to Eileen and Joanne and staff and Tiffany Morris, your consultant, who really make the process, very smooth, and especially with all the uncertainty of the last, couple of years, things went very smoothly. So we anticipate that we'll be ready to issue your final report here probably in the next week or so, and meet that October 15th filing deadline. Are there any questions?
That the board will adopt the final financial statement on the 20th, and you'll have it as part of your packet for your reading enjoyment.
Thank you. Anybody questions? No? Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay. Hearings and petitions, we have none for agenda items. I need a motion for one or all of the business considerations. 12. Okay. Do we have a second? Mrs. Klein. Discussion, I do want to pull 3 of these out here and mention and thank for the donation from the Regional Food Bank of Northeastern New York. Also, 2 of them for Regional Food Bank Northeastern New York, Hannaford gift cards, 1 for the high school and 1 for the middle school. And also to Mr. Tedford in the memory of Maria Tedford for the high school backpack program. So thank all of them for their generosity. Any other discussion? All in favor? All right, motion's passed. Need a motion for one or all of the personnel considerations.
I'd like to make a motion for 7-1 through 7-18.
Okay, do we have a second? Mrs. Burns, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion's passed. 8.1 is informational items only. We will move on to special reports. One thing I do want to report on, recently the Board of Education and school leaders had a meeting, and the board has heard from both school leaders and teachers about the negotiations process, and in order to continue the process in good faith, 2 school board members will be joining the negotiations team. We're hoping with this addition that it will help to smooth some things out, and we look forward to continuing the process. So that's all I need to add. Any other school board members, would you like to add anything? Any other topics? No? I will turn it over to Dr. Bailey.
You know, I almost feel like we should have one of those OSHA signs on the wall that says 25 days since an accident, workplace accident. Being able to stay open in times of COVID is definitely a delicate balance. One of the things that I talked about at our last meeting, in an order of earlier in September, schools are required to either receive validation that staff members have been vaccinated or proof that they have been tested for COVID every week. And this has been a very slow process in Albany County, and some of our neighboring schools have just been able to begin that process. I think North Colony was one of the first. And we also will have to join in that process. But I want to talk a little bit more about this in the context of some of the other things that have happened. It's important to know that as of today, October 6th, we've had 22 positive COVID cases in the district. This is approximately the conclusion of the 4th week of school. This is more than we had in the first semester of last year, in the first 5 months of last year. We've had 22 positive cases. So, you know, as we've heard the pundits talk about, this version of the disease is definitely more transferable. We've had a lot more positive cases. Over 250 people have been placed in quarantine or isolation because of that. And to give it a loose number, 2,500 missed school days by staff members and children. 2,500 is almost impossible to conceptualize in the context of a 180-day year for the children that are in our care. So there is no underplaying of how significantly we take the roles and responsibilities of following the guidelines that have been handed to us. 3-foot distancing between our children, 6-foot distancing between children and adults, and 6 feet between adults and adults. Every time we are in a room with a fellow staff member and we were within 6 feet, we are a traceable event. And the impact is significant. We know each of our schools has been able to stay open a little bit on a thread by people's willingness to step in, by the few substitutes that we have. But each day is a challenge, and every staff member in the district will attest to that. It is a challenge, because not only do we have the normal stressors of educating the children, but there's also distancing and the masks, and sometimes colleagues not being able to be there. It is a very stressful time. So the reason I tied that all in, and for our testing of our staff as part of the new component, I think it's going to be essential that we determine a way that we're able to test our staff on site. Where this will be beneficial is that if we are able to do this successfully, we'll also be able to do diagnostic testing. As of right now, a child comes into school sick. They are sent home for 10 days or until they have a negative COVID test and they've recovered from their illness or an alternative diagnosis. We know what that does to our families in the community. We know what it does to the businesses in our community. We know what it does to the businesses throughout our community, the larger community. If we're able to do this successfully, we will be able to do diagnostic testing on children who are sick in school. That means that they won't have to go to a private purveyor or to their doctor to get the test. This is huge. This is a huge potential for us. And they've promised a 24-hour turnaround, although if any of you have followed the game plan from the Department of Health, every school in New York State getting a 24-hour turnaround will be very impressive. So, but let's call it 24 hours. Is that now a staff member or a student who is ill has the potential to be tested prior to leaving, or they're brought back and they're tested, and they'll be able to return to school when they're well, because we'll know that they don't have COVID. So there are a number of things that need to be put in place around that, and we'll be sending surveys to families tomorrow and to our staff. To families, only children whose families have opted them in will be tested. So you have to volunteer to have your child tested. We're going to set a baseline of 5 to 10% of our students per week to be tested. The Department of Health has asked us to ascertain what we have the procedural capacity to do. So the students whose family opt them in will be tested. It won't be the same children every week. It will be children on a rotating basis. And as I mentioned, every one of our staff members who does not provide proof of vaccination must be tested every week. So we're still working on some strategies to do that, but that is our hope. And the whole reason I started with the COVID protocols is that we've had to cancel some things that are near and dear to families in this community. Or I should say, we've had to cancel it for people outside of our school buildings, which, you know, when especially when our children are small, we want to be there. Both the Apple runs have happened at the elementary schools, but without parents being there. We canceled the homecoming dance, which would have been almost 2 weeks ago now. But what I wanted to make clear is that our ability to keep our schools open is the first thing we're doing, the absolute first thing. And if we're not doing that, we have failed. Everything else we're able to do is fantastic. And we want to return to normal. So our plan is to establish like a rubric of this is how we can do things in that COVID safety. So in other words, how do we bring people together outside? If it's a highly populated area, the Department of Health and the CDC have said you should be wearing a mask, even if you're outside, because you're in a what do they say, congested area, right? So we're going to develop some ways using the protocols that we know that we've been given to get our community back and to do the things that we want to do. We're going to work on a way to be able to have our high schoolers celebrate together. They haven't been together except for graduation for the seniors and prom in the spring with the guidelines around weddings at the time. We want to get back to normal. We will only do so if it does not put us in danger of shutting down. That's it. And that's the only thing I'm willing to support. It doesn't make any sense for us to cause things that would make us shut down. Bringing groups of staff together and having them in a confined space in an untraceable event is a recipe for a disaster. So, and our students. So that's where we're working, but we're going to be broadcasting out to the community to let them know we want them back, and here's what we're going to do to get them to be able to participate and to do the things we do. We have concerts coming up at the end of the month. We need to have a plan about how we're going to be able to have our auditorium filled with people in a way that is safe. So we'll be doing that over the next few days so that people do know. We really do care. And I would say where we failed, especially in these first few events, the Apple Run and some of the other things that we've had to cancel, is we said because of COVID, but when you are going to a restaurant or walking into the Cumbies or you're going to an athletic event, you can do whatever you want. People do not understand the difference between whatever I want and what we're trying to do in school. So we should have more clearly said something to the effect of, we're not going to have families at the Apple Run because we know there is no way to safely have arrival and dismissal with additional vehicles on our campus or to safely hand children off to their families at the conclusion of the event. If we had said that, that would have helped a little, maybe. So we're going to make sure that we are
Brian,
sharing exactly that.
The question I would have is, we've had these Apple Runs every single year, so why all of a sudden would traffic be an issue? Because I don't agree with some of these decisions, and these obviously weren't board decisions. I mean, we made 45 kids that we honored on a screen stay home tonight, and we had 80 people sitting in our stands, right here in the auditorium. And there's no reason why we shouldn't have those 45 people and those kids here. They're in school every single day. we only control 7 hours of their day. 17 other hours, they can do whatever they want. So I'm not sure I agree with those decisions. I think the pep rally and the homecoming dance, they were canceled before school started. We need to put better effort into some of these things that we do, because we did a survey in the beginning of school and in the summer, and the biggest response we got from parents was they wanted things back to normal. This is not back to normal. Making kids get their picture taken and seen on a screen, these apple runs that are outside, those things, why aren't we just following the rules? Health department doesn't say you can't have these events. These are decisions that administration's making. That's it. So, I mean, I think that we have to look at other options, because myself, I don't agree with some of the decisions that we're making. So
as I said, we're going to involve, and we're also going to involve the PTOs in being able to do that. 250 plus students and staff in quarantine.
But Brian, they can get those things when they walk out of school. You can get it going to the restaurant.
But
We can control them here. Everybody wears a mask. They're following the rules. An hour after this event, nobody has to follow those rules. Those 100 kids you could have brought here tonight, they could leave here and go do whatever they want, right? So, I mean, they're following the guidelines here. As long as we're following the guidelines when we're supposed to, I don't see any reason why we can't do these things. So, I mean, we have these kids in school every day. We have more than 45 kids in a cafeteria. So, I just think that we have to look at other options to get things back to normal. Right now, we aren't back to normal. We're taking these things away from kids for the second or third year in a row. So, I just think that there's other things that we need to look at. I mean, COVID's here, it's been here for 2 years. As long as we're following the guidelines, then we can control what we can control. And I just think that we need to look at letting kids have some of these events. So, I mean, we're never gonna have a concert in this auditorium or a play if we're gonna follow these same things and not allow kids to come here. So, I don't know when that's gonna change, but I think that we need to, look at other things that we can do for the kids.
During the public health crisis, I will continue to make the decision to allow our doors to be open so we can conduct classes with our children.
Okay. You have anything else? We'll turn it over to Mr. Engelhardt.
So, committees have been meeting this past month. They've kind of gotten back up in session, a lot of them virtually, but one of the committees that we've been really had a lot of, steam around it is the STEAM team. We were able to meet a couple of our committee members at the Glenmont Bio Reserve this 2 Thursdays ago, which is, if you don't know about it, it's 68 acres of old fields and forested lands up by the Cumberland Farms in Glenmont. And so we were able to go and talk with the folks there about possible partnerships with RCS and how we could utilize that space for education. So we appreciate that partnership. In the spring, the board approved the code of conduct. We asked families for feedback around that. So we've been rolling that out around with information. We emailed all families. We put a blurb in our calendar around that as well. It is on our website. Student assemblies at the secondary level are starting to occur. We had some professional development for teachers. So we're looking into how to continue to communicate our code of conduct that we worked for nearly 2 years on. So we want to make sure that it is out there and well reviewed. And, given our conversation, we know that open houses look different this year. Similarly to last year, they were virtual. Pros and cons to that, obviously, teachers and parents love some FaceTime, but a lot of them were able to do that virtually. And they made videos, so and I know, jumping on my own kids' videos, I got some feedback from teachers pretty quickly. So thank you to all of those teachers who made those videos and then did like virtual office hours. It was, I think, a really great way to do that. As part of that, there was a financial aid video as well that our counselors made. That's still a live link, so I would just ask that folks who are willing to jump on that, please do so. This week we have a meeting with St. Peter's Health Partners. They have an initiative to really try to push education on healthy eating habits, so I will give some more information around that, but we see that really fitting well within our wellness committee and our farm to school grants that we received. And we have our Ms. Stockman, our PE and Health CCS on that, Mr. Porter, our food service director, quite a few members who will be part of that. And so we look forward to that partnership with St. Peter's Health Partners. I don't know if I mentioned this, even though it's kind of old news if you've been on the website, but I still want to give a huge congratulations to, we have 3 high school students who are part of the NISMA Conference All-State Festival. There actually will be traveling, if it's still on, traveling to Eastman Theater in Rochester, which is pretty prestigious. So one of them is an alternate, but Renee Rivers is a senior. She'll be playing flute. Aiden White is a senior. He'll be singing bass. And Lydia Hummel will be singing soprano as the alternate. So congratulations to them. The 2021 Winter Sports registration information is on our website. Check that out. And then on October 12th is a half day as a reminder for teachers to participate in professional development. Our professional practices committees came up with some ideas, continued support around technology, social emotional health and learning. And then there was a lot of curriculum writing that occurred over the summer as well. So they want to dig deeper into some of the work that they've done there. And that's it for me.
Mrs. Moran.
Yeah, I just want to take a moment, reiterate that the final audit will be available. It'll be part of your board packet the next time it goes out. It'll be available on the web after that. It's a period of time at the business office where we have to do state reporting is due at the beginning of the school starts, the transparency report, the audit. So we've been doing quite a bit of work. It takes a lot of our time. But some other things that we're trying to get done, we've had a first round of approval with our Gear 2 money. What part of that is we're going to be looking at an upgraded camera system for all of our buses. We'll start that evaluation in the next couple of weeks. I want to talk a little bit about, I know on the Friday night at the homecoming football game, the lights went out. I know it was a hard sell to get that done, and there was a lot of misinformation out there. But I would give a shout out to our O&M staff, and I would give a shout out to National Grid. They went above and beyond what they do to shut off the power to make sure that we could correct what was an extreme hazard, could have killed somebody, what was that state of that electrical panel in that building. But it's fixed the right way now. We will be working directly with our architect, the state education department, to get that old concession stand out and redo the electric. That'll be something that we have done before the end of the school year or very early into the summer. We're working on it now. But again, without National Grid's assistance, we would still probably be working on getting that fixed. So I wanted to give them a shout out. And that's it.
Who is our electrician?
The school district pays McBain Electric. We do that at a bid.
We might want to follow up with them because when they turned the lights on last night, sparks flew out of the box. And upon further investigation from Mr. Schramm, it's determined that the fuses were not put in properly.
Okay.
So we just want to make sure that shouldn't happen.
Yep.
Right?
But the lights did work great. And girls soccer did have senior night last night, which was really good. And I believe boys soccer has senior night, I think, tomorrow night. So glad to see the lights. Mrs. Moran, you're all set, correct?
Yes.
Does anybody have any new business they would like to add? Any items? Anything on any of these old business that we need to discuss?
I wasn't prepared to ask questions, specific questions about the Career Cafe, but since it was part of tonight's presentation, it would be nice to see a scenario. If this is like a soft opening, experimental, just kind of how does this work? How do people have access to it? How do they move around and make the best use out of it so that we can set expectations and be able to adjust if it's not meeting our needs as we go through.
Okay. So maybe we can put that on for new business and add it to the agenda for future meetings, and then we can ask some questions or get some information.
That'd be helpful.
Okay. Anything else? No? We're good. Okay. BOE committee reports, Building and Grounds Committee meeting at 9:15. You have anything to discuss?
So.
Okay. Policy, second reading, so we're going to need a motion to pass 13-1. Mr. McFerrin, a second. Mrs. Burns, any discussion? All in favor? All right. 13-1. 14, hearings and petitions. So we have a lot of hearings and petitions tonight. We are going to be following the 3-minute strict guidelines so we can get all these petitions in. Mrs. Starr will have a buzzer. When the buzzer goes off, please finish up so we can get all of the hearings and petitions in, as we have quite a few. Please limit your question or statement to 3 minutes so as to ensure sufficient time for all present to have an opportunity to speak. Any topics which fall properly under executive session will not be discussed in public session. Limit your comments to 3 minutes, and we will not discuss, or please do not discuss, any personal or personnel items. We will start with Angela Howick, please.
Good evening, RCS community. I came here tonight as a parent and a fellow teacher to support our children and our RCS teachers. Before moving to Selkirk in 2005, we knew no one here. We've grown to love this small town that we call home, thanks to the great people here who support our children both in and out of school. The current situation of losing colleagues and unfair salaries that the RCS teachers are fighting has impacted my family in multiple ways. Before I tell you how, I want to mention that when we first moved to town, our paperwork said we were in the Bethlehem School District. We were a little disappointed, but we gave it a shot here. And with the small class sizes and wonderful staff at Becker, we never worried about that mishap again. In fact, we were thrilled with the opportunities our oldest child had, with the amazing Challenge Math and Scholars programs, and the kind people A.W. Becker has helped both our children become. Fast forward to the summer of 2021, where we heard there were problems with teachers leaving and being unhappy, and the possibility that these great programs would not be happening at A.W. Becker this year. All these rumors were true. The Scholars Program is not happening. This was one of the best things that got our oldest child ready for the demands of middle and high school. And now my youngest son is missing out. There are alternative STEAM programs happening to challenge him and his peers this year, but it's still disappointing to see such a great program be cut during our final year at Becker, and the cut to not be announced at budget time back in May for those impacted to have a chance to voice their opinion. The same school year, our oldest son is a freshman at RCS, and in the honors math class that Mr. Stott spoke about during the last board meeting, he had his schedule changed in the second week of school and was moved from a small honors class of 14 students to a large class of 24 students with 9th, 10th, and 11th graders in this large class, all because RCS has not been able to fill a position with a qualified teacher. Larger class sizes, losing one-of-a-kind programs, as a parent, it sounds like we're losing some of the benefits of a small-town school. You might think my story is over since most of you know I only have 2 boys. It's not. Now I want to tell you my story. I'm currently a teacher with 9 years experience teaching first grade, 10 years experience specializing in ELA, reading and writing in grade 2 in another district. I'm the PBIS coordinator, the varsity tennis coach, highly involved in my district. Since my boys are so involved in their sports, I thought I'd take advantage of the openings at RCS and apply for a teaching position here so I could lessen my commute and get to all their activities. So I applied and was offered a reading specialist position at A.W. Becker. I was thrilled. My family was thrilled at what this meant for us. Then I had to make one of the hardest decisions I've made in the last 19 years of my career and not accept the position. I was interviewed at RCS expecting to take a $15,000 pay cut. Let me repeat that. I was asking to take a $15,000 pay cut to spend more time with my family and less time commuting. Unfortunately, RCS was offering me a record high starting salary for them, which was still over $25,000 less than I make now. and my current district gets paid lower than many other districts in the same county. More than $25,000 less. My family missed out on this opportunity that I was highly qualified for, and RCS missed out on a fabulous teacher. Wouldn't you want that highly qualified teacher to be the specialist helping your struggling child instead of an inexperienced one? It saddens me that our children are not only losing great teachers, but also very sad that they're getting our second, third, and fourth choice candidates, or in my son's case, not a teacher at all and a schedule change, because we won't offer them a competitive salary. I'm going to skip to the end here. Whether you agree with the amount of Capital Region teacher salaries or not, we can all agree that if RCS is not comparable to neighboring districts, we will only keep the teachers we can find for a few years until they move on to somewhere that will pay them more after using our kids as a stepping stone in their career. In this scenario, we never have highly qualified, experienced teachers teaching our children and mentoring our new staff. I'm not one to speak at board meetings or put drama on social media, but I try hard to avoid all that. But I felt I could shed some light on the current situation from the view of a parent and professional. This district that we've grown to love has truly caused us some concern for our children and our many friends who are employed in the district. It's time we support our kids and our colleagues. I'm hoping the district will do the same so our children don't lose any more of the great opportunities they have here, and our amazing, talented teachers want to stay and continue to shape this great community. Thank you for your time.
Emily Cameron.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to talk about some concerns pertaining to what's going on inside our RCS schools. My first point is on the ineffectiveness of these masks that are continually being forced on our children. And yes, we already know and have heard many times that you are just following CDC's guidance and the governor's mandate. Unfortunately, the CDC and your State Department of Health have contradicted themselves on numerous occasions. They all seem to have a dictator and totalitarian-like way about them, though, don't they? These viruses are made up of microscopic particles that are going to get through every and any kind of mask that you put on your face. It has been proven that these particles will even get through your strongest mask, those being your N95 masks. So, if these masks are not capable of keeping these microscopic particles from getting through, why exactly are children and staff inside schools being mandated to wear them? Why is it that we're allowed to go sit and eat inside restaurants without being required to wear one? Why can we go to the grocery stores, to stadiums, sports events without being forced to wear a mask? Yet our children are forced to wear a mask while learning inside their classrooms. Where there is no explanation, no reasonable rationale, you have lost all logic, and therefore you certainly are not following the science. My second point I'd like to make is that these masks are causing more harm to our children than anything else. I've been a registered nurse for almost 10 years now. One very important thing that we all need to understand is that where there is moisture and a warm environment, there forms a reservoir for bacteria to grow. Various kinds of bacterial growth that are accumulating on our mask are then being inhaled back into our lungs, causing upper respiratory infections. You wonder why some children may be getting so sick with respiratory illnesses. Well, it's because we're forcing them to wear constant bacteria on their faces that they're breathing in 6+ hours a day while at school. We really need to focus on getting back to normal instead of complying with this ridiculous new normal inside our schools. We need to have school dances, concerts, and normal celebrations for these kids to allow them to truly enjoy one another and make memories together the way that we all did when we went to school. Parents should be allowed to attend normal school events and celebrate their children's accomplishments as well. And lastly, some of our teachers need to get back to being educators instead of dictators whose main focus seems to be enforcing mask rules and instilling fear instead of focusing on teaching our children the subject matter that they're supposed to be teaching them. For this very reason, I pulled my 2 kindergartners out of school, and I'm homeschooling them myself, and I have to say, I think I'm one of the best teachers they've ever had. This incessant obsessing over the kids' masks not being properly applied up over their noses so that they can breathe a little bit better, or having the kids go to the principal's office time after time to have their mask inspected or even light checked, I'm almost finished, is just so unbelievable to me. Why are we focusing so much on how to wear a mask instead of being these children's teachers? Remember your role and who you are to these kids and give them the proper education that they deserve. Now, you, the board, are supposed to be here to help us when we're letting you know that we're terribly concerned about what's going on here inside the RCS schools. And I know that some of you are doing your very best. That's very apparent to me, and thank you. Please take a better look at your administrators and at some of your teachers, and take a stand for all of our children and their individual God-given liberties. Thank you.
Donna McMullen.
Let me see. Good evening. I'm here to discuss a battle with a 2-year-old virus that most have either had, gotten a shot for, or been exposed to, but thereby creating herd immunity in our community. Much of the government control is hiding behind the word emergency. This board has the power to vote for freedom over fear and eliminate a mask policy. We must put an end to the forever-demic, and logic has to destroy fear. A 99.9% recovery rate of this flu virus should alert all of us to end this panic and pandemic of fear. Cases are not deaths, and more diseases than COVID kills people. An airborne virus is not a fire that can be put out, and no logical person should consider it an emergency 2 years later. The genie is out of the bottle, and we must learn to live with it. A brief COVID history. Pursuant to Executive Order 202.16 dated April 12th of 2020, Andrew Cuomo signed a mandate that forced essential businesses to use face coverings when in contact with customers and the public. Essential businesses included liquor stores, pharmacies, grocery stores, restaurants, bars, and manufacturers. Then on June 15th, 2021, more than a year later, he filed another order. All of the state-mandated restrictions are lifted, social gathering restrictions have been removed, and health screenings and cleaning protocols will no longer be required in New York. We can return to life as we know it, and masks are no longer required indoors. So what happened a few months later? They went back to 2020 fear tactic. The Department of Health Council of Regulatory Affairs on face covering for COVID-19 effective August 27, 2021, stated as part of an ongoing effort to address the COVID-19, we're in 2021, pandemic, regulated parties have been a partner in implementing measures to limit the spread and or mitigate the impact of COVID-19 within the state since March of 2020. Accordingly, adverse impacts are expected to be minimal. Oh, but rural area participation. Due to the emergent nature of COVID-19, parties representing rural areas were not consulted. This is on their own Department of Health website. RCS is a rural area and thrown into the big city numbers that have nothing to do with our community. RCSs are being punished for living in a rural area in a state with a poorly run, filthy city more than 2 hours away. Our children are not public property. Each person is a sovereign citizen with rights over their own bodies. You may have heard that slogan, "My body, my choice." Well, that applies to all aspects of our body, including your face. Last week, a group met in Colony with a lawyer and a friendly judge who explained that mask mandates are not laws and therefore not enforceable. Only the legislature can make laws to stand up in court, and none exist because they are unconstitutional. The mandate for vaccines is also unconstitutional, and why the federal government is forcing private businesses to do its dirty work. The CDC, FDA, NIH, and all those other alphabet organizations are not lawmakers. All they do is provide guidance, and we do not have to obey their opinions. So why is New York State being so tyrannical? The judge said, because no one is fighting back. So I'm here to fight back for all of our students. Our children should not have to wear masks while indoors or sitting at a desk. They are young and healthy and need to build their immunity with each other. Today, people do not have to wear masks in grocery stores, restaurants, stadiums, malls, movie theaters, any other public place, and yet are being illegally mandated to gag their faces for the whole school day while trying to learn academics at school. Where is the logic and where is the science? If people want to wear a mask, let them, but do not force others to follow. This is America, land of the free. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bill McMullen?
I'd like to pass my time to my wife.
Gotta beat the 3-minute system, I guess. Okay, so last week, when I was at that class action group in Colony, I said our district has options because we're a small and rural community. I told them that our students who played fall sports, that the parents were asked to sign a hold harmless agreement to protect the district from liability. That was a simple solution to return to normalcy and protect the school district from financial damages. Actually, the judge thought that was brilliant. He thought every school district should be doing that. I believe parents would sign agreements for their children to attend school without a mask and to participate in winter indoor sports that are too physical for oxygen-depriving masks. At the session in Colony, a lawyer told us to gather the following information from our districts. 1, exactly what laws are you adhering to or following, including any and all state laws or federal laws? 2, what is the total amount of state or federal aid or grants the school district has received or is expected to receive as part of its COVID-19 mandate compliance? In other words, what was the price tag for our children's freedom? Number 3, what scientific, peer-reviewed, and scientifically proven efficacy studies did you use when developing the mask mandate policy? 4, what correspondence between the superintendent of RCS, the board, and the teachers union exists regarding COVID compliance and mandates since March of 2020? These lawsuits are going to get ugly, and I prefer not to smear our school district through the mud and waste money that is needed to hire teachers, bus drivers, staff members, equipment to advance our students and become a good citizens and productive members of the community. I don't want our district to waste tax dollars on lawsuits. I want our board to modify the policy so it's not unconstitutional and not violating our children's human rights. The sign on the door of this school is from April of 2021. A lot of good has happened since then, and we cannot go backwards in time. The lawsuit will move forward and the people will win. I hope you do the right thing as leaders and parents in this community. Let the risk fall on us parents and the children because most of the people in our district are not afraid. The emergency is over and we need to move on. For those who want to wear a mask, that is their choice, but I prefer to have the freedom of choice. Viruses will continue forever and no mask can stop them. We teach our children to comply and obey the school rules, but we have learned that the rules and policies are unconstitutional and overreaching into parental health choice for our children. As a result, we need to say no more. We all salute the same flag. Thank you, and I look forward to update. And I imagine we're all ready to put this COVID behind us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Walsh.
Hi, how is everybody? First of all, I want to thank the parents who got up here before me, as their points I think were well delivered and allow me to dive a little deeper into some of the issues. These masks aren't doing what we think they're doing. Just because something makes us feel better doesn't mean it works. Because it seems like common sense that a mask stops your breath and doesn't make it effective against a virus or at stopping moisture particles from escaping into the air. The University of Waterloo, a study out of Canada, is one of, if not the most comprehensive mask study ever done. Cloth and surgical masks are 10% effective when fitted and worn properly. How many kids even wear their masks properly? We're doing all this to be 10% effective, maybe. That's 90% ineffective. At one point, human beings thought fire was magic and the world was flat. It took people doing what I'm doing and what some of these other parents are doing to challenge those beliefs. We are meant to question and find truth. But what's disturbing about this situation is the people who ask these questions are being silenced and written off as crazy. As parents, we deserve access to the research and the insights behind the rules that are being forced upon our kids, and we have a right to question that research and those insights. We need policy. The CDC guidelines and mandates are intentionally vague in certain areas as so they cannot be held liable. School administrators hide behind these guidelines to operate in the gray areas and contradict RCS codes of conduct, all in the name of public health. This will make a little more sense to the board once you get my formal complaint, but I assure you this is happening in our schools. None of the parents who agree with me are trying to tell anyone else to do anything. We want to be able to make our own decisions about what's best for our children. No one is saying that anyone's kid can't wear a mask. The aforementioned study proves that if your kid wears an N95 mask, they're 50% protected from air moisture molecules, which is more than having 10% protection from both kids. Never in the history of societal conflict has the side who's taken the stance of you have to do it my way ever been right. The answer to problems in America has been and still is more freedom. It's never less. More choices, more information, more compassion, more understanding, not less. I want to end on a quote that people try to say is taken out of context. But Ben Franklin once said, "Those who can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." He was talking philosophically about things like this. If you're willing to share your medical info, affect your child's development, watch communities be torn apart, and lose your right for certain health choices, go ahead. It's your right to make that call. You can protect your family and make your health choices and do what you have to do. All people like me are saying is let us do the same. And then since I think I have a couple extra seconds here, so I just wanted to share that my daughter told me the other day that she had a great day at school. I asked her why, and she said because the teacher read to us instead of making us watch it on YouTube. That's all.
Thank you. Adam Sutton.
Good evening. This will be fairly precise and short. My name is Adam Sutton. I've been a history teacher here at the high school for the last 22 years. Prior to that, I was a police officer for the town of Coeymans and then the director of Parks and Rec program, which led me to my current job here at RCS. For those 25 years that I devoted to this community, I've only spoken to the Board of Ed twice. I come to you this evening asking you to simply do what is right for the sake of equity and for the morale of this district. And with that, I have 2 points. As you were made aware at the last board meeting, due to our current salary scale, our school struggles recruiting new teachers to join us. And in an effort to make our salary scale more appealing to those right out of college, administration has eliminated the first 5 steps of our salary scale. These teachers are fresh out of college making a step 5 salary. And teachers who have taught for 5 years in our district are making the same amount. Doesn't experience matter? Nothing has been done to compensate these teachers that are in this group, who have gained classroom experience in our district, served our community, earned tenure, and proven through years of observation that they are highly effective teachers. Those teachers served our community for the last 5 to 10 years and have proven themselves to be assets to this district. They are making the same or sometimes even less than teachers who are fresh out of school. This hurts the morale in my building, and I'm sure it hurts it in other buildings as well. And I watch as some incredible teachers that I work with, and they have great classroom management, who have engaging and successful lessons driven by data, who have formed meaningful relationships with parents and families in this district. They feel underappreciated, undervalued by a district that refuses to pay them what they are worth. And I can't blame them for searching other districts elsewhere. And my second point is this. Our union has looked at 14 comparable school districts using such variables as location, size, socioeconomics, and a tax base of the community. My brother has 21 years teaching at one of those 14 comparable districts. He's at Catskill Central School District. He makes $17,000 more than I do with one less year. Every teacher in this district, whether it's been 5, 10, or 22 years like me, knows that their salary is lower than their counterparts at another district with equivalent years. In conclusion, we need to keep our teachers here. We need to show them that they are valued members of the community. We need to pay them what they're worth. If we don't, another district will. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Ted Smith.
Three minutes is going to be hard for me. I'll try real hard. Good evening, everyone. At the last board meeting, physical ed teacher Elise Lachlan spoke powerfully about her difficult decision to leave RCS for a position in Albany that pays her $14,000 more to do the same job. Sure, some people may say, and that's too bad, but that's Albany. The conditions are different in big cities than they are down here. The salaries have to be bigger. There's nothing we can do. Okay. Consider then the case of John Fituzzo, who resigned his position as the high school band director late last June. Like most of you, I don't know Mr. Fituzzo terribly well personally, but I certainly know of him. I know about the dedication he poured into this community, adding even more professionalism to our faculty and even higher expectations for our students. I know how he helped to safeguard the extraordinary reputation of our scrappy music program that, due to the efforts of Shelley, Kermit, and others, has been fighting above its weight class for years. I know of the impact he has had on our students who achieved more with a musical instrument than they ever thought possible. Mr. Fituzzo took a position at Guilderland, which pays a teacher with his experience approximately $10,000 more a year than we do. Yeah, those people say. That's a big loss for RCS, but a fancy suburban school like Guilderland can afford to compensate teachers like that. RCS is different. There's nothing we can do. Fine. Instead, let's consider the district to our immediate south, a district nestled along the shores of the Hudson just like ours, a semi-rural district like ours, situated even less close to the Albany metro area. Let's consider Coxsackie. If I was to pull up anchor and head to Coxsackie, I, under the most recent contracts, could be earning nearly $15,000 more annually for doing the same job I'm doing here, today. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of a 30-year career. And I wouldn't even have to change my mailing address. A city school, a suburban school, and an ex-urban RCS lookalike, along with virtually every other school district in the region, all have one thing in common: astonishingly better compensation for their teachers. RCS is shedding talented teachers and struggling to fill important positions as a direct result. Classes are being cut, and our kids' educational quality, my kids, my 3 kids, their education is being impacted as a direct result. We simply cannot do right by our students if we can't compete. Ladies and gentlemen, the current situation is unacceptable, and it is time to gather some vision and to have the guts to execute it. Every 3 years, there's negotiations. Every 3 years, the parties sit down at the table. We want a little more money in our paychecks. Administration wants a little more control. That game is not going to cut it this time. That game has got to go. We have got to think big if we want to do right by this community. We've got to think big. Thank you for agreeing to participate in the negotiations, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Kimberly Gorleski.
Good evening. I come to you tonight as a teacher who has taught for 19 years in your district. I am one of the teachers who didn't see a pay increase in September when I returned here to teach at RCS. The RCSTA does not have a current contract with the RCS school district. I am one of the roughly 110 teachers whose salary is off step from the teacher salary schedule. I am one of about 50% of the teachers here at RCS who shows up to work every day and is receiving a paycheck without a pay increase this school year. I am one of the teachers with a family that is directly affected by me not getting a pay raise this school year. There are about 100 families who are just like my family. So what exactly does this mean for teachers in my situation? This means that since the teacher salary schedule is only based on 16 steps, any teacher who is working on step 17 or higher did not see a raise this year. It is for this reason that I've had to look for other jobs to compensate for my rising living expenses. At this meeting, you did approve my name for being a PM school teacher, which I had applied for to provide me with some more income. Thank you for your approval. I will now be working 4 to 6 more hours a week and still not see the amount of money in my paycheck that I would have seen if we had had a current contract. However, I must take these extra hours to compensate for not getting a pay increase and working without a current contract. For my 19 years of teaching here at RCS, I have always had a 30 to 40-minute one-way commute to school. With gas prices on the rise, I will be spending more and more on gas to get to my job here at RCS. Living with a long commute has meant that I have spent hours and hours in my car to come to RCS every day to teach our children. I have never thought it would be too much since I love being a teacher here at RCS. RCS is a great school district, and the children, families, and RCS staff that make up this school district have made my career one that I enjoy every year. Starting a school year without a contract shows me that the district doesn't respect and value its teachers, especially the teachers that have spent the most of their years here at RCS. Administration and the Board of Education expected that at least 50% of your teachers would show up in September and teach the children of this district, making less money than they did last year. These teachers, over 100 of them, did just that. They showed up and have been showing up every day to teach the students of this district. This shows that your teachers are dedicated and professionals and will do their jobs, putting the students of this district first because they are committed to the students. I asked the board tonight what this shows about the district's dedication to their teachers. I asked the Board of Education tonight to remember that at least roughly 50% of the teachers are working every day with children to educate them and help them grow into creative, smart, and ultimately successful people in life. These teachers are doing their jobs because it's what they do and they do it well. Remember that these teachers are doing their job without being given the compensation they deserve for dedicating over 1, 2, and even 3 decades of their lives to teaching the students at RCS. It is now time to give the RCSTA a fair and commensurable contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Stott.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here tonight to discuss my serious concerns about where this district is heading as both a school teacher at the high school as well as a taxpayer within this district. As of today, our district has yet to fill at least 3 open positions with long-term solutions. On top of that, we have just given up on hiring a math vacancy and left the students to take the brunt of that negative impact. Several of these positions were vacated by teachers that have moved on to other public school districts. Now, I know that it has been addressed already, but this exodus that we are witnessing and the inability to hire qualified educators is directly correlated to our unit's low pay. It is one thing to hear that we are poorly compensated, but tonight, I am bringing the proof that we are just flat out underpaid. I have collected and examined the contracts of 20 districts. The qualifications were simple for my research. The school district must either be within 15% of our high school's population, or it must be within 2 borders of RCS. My findings were tough to stomach. RCS is below average from the date of hire all the way through to retirement. We start off at year 1 as the 14th out of 20 schools. By year 10, we are 19th out of 20 schools. By year 20, we are 20th out of 20 schools. Now, for those of you at home, since you don't have the papers in front of you, that list includes Greenville, Cooksaki, Hudson, Catskill, Burn Knox Westerlo, Middleburg, Schodack, Ichabod Crane, Cobleskill, and 10 other districts. RCS, dead last at 20 years. Now, you must be thinking, well, we've got to be close. The average of those other 19 schools at year 20 is roughly $83,000. We've got to be close. At year 20, we are paid $70,600. That is not close, and that is unacceptable. Well, what should we expect moving forward? Well, there is a teacher shortage at the moment, and it's only getting worse. Meanwhile, our woefully underpaid staff is leaving for more lucrative positions during a time when we can't fill current open positions. Retaining our staff by giving a competitive wage is the only way that RCS will continue to put a qualified, experienced educator in front of every child in our district. Board of Education members, members of the community, I want to let you know that during negotiations, the teachers were told that a significant raise is impossible because the community just won't accept it. Well, I don't agree with that. I live in this community. I believe this community values education. I believe this community understands the crisis at hand. I know as a community, we can understand that paying our teachers the lowest in the area is no way to hold on to the educators that we value. I just hope the Board of Education and the members of the community will stand up and will speak up for the sake of our children and our children's education before it is too late. Thank you.
Eric, what's your 3 stars on your bottom of your chart thing? And what's BDS stand for?
3 stars is within 15% of our beds numbers. So if our beds numbers is 450, a school district that's within 15% of that number.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt Miller.
Good evening, everybody. Obviously, you heard from me last week. I appreciate Mr. Reveley's announcement tonight that some board members are going to join us at the table and try to get this process going forward. So I'll modify my statements based upon that. I'll make up some of the time Eric took. and shorten it a little bit. I'll actually go in reverse, too, of what I was going to say, because I was going to finish with asking the board tonight to come back to the table. We sort of got to impasse, this relative dead spot, when we tried to say, let's go to a one-year rollover. Right, we're trying to do a big contract, and instead we said, let's see if we can get something done, and then go back to the table and do the full thing. That's where we got stuck. So my statement was going to be, let's go back to the table, get the full deal done, a regular contract, and have some board members with us. Because what we kept hearing was the board was the backstop, that the board has a rigid point, and that's it, and we can't go past that. So that's what we were going to ask you guys to come back and join it. You saying that tonight is great to hear. That's what I was going to ask. Makes me wonder if you have some microphones up in my room, though. Did you have my speech, Teddy? So, little levity, right? So, what I do want to quickly, though, I will add is that oftentimes Board of Eds are very concerned about the impact on the community in negotiations, right? And it often seems that school staff make so much more than the community. So I went ahead and got some of the new data from the census results that just came out, and I want to share some of that with you and show you where we stand, and let you know that, quite honestly, even though it feels the same it's been for a long time, the school district that we live in today is not the same one that I've been in for 31 years and that many of you grew up in. It's different, okay? Before I give you the numbers, I will acknowledge that we have definite pockets of extreme low income in our community that you don't see in other places. But the community that we grew up in, that we know that we've been in for a long time, has changed. Coeymans, from 2018 through 2020, saw a median income rise of 4.69% to a median of $66,136 for median income in Coeymans. That's actually 50% higher than it was in 2010. Right? So it's gone up 50% in 10 years. Ravena shows a median income of $68,885. And Selkirk is at $76,817. The present median income for RCS teachers, I can give you an approximate. We hired 25 or so teachers this year, so it could be skewed, but it's in a neighborhood of $65,000. We are now making what the community makes. My point to that is we always viewed as making so much more than the community. The community couldn't handle it. And we took that in consideration those last 12 years of contracts through difficult fiscal times. What it shows, though, is that we no longer make that vastly more than the average district resident, and that a hike to make us competitive would not push us into a stratosphere that would cause consternation to taxpayers, especially since we believe, and we showed the district, that this can be done with very minimal impact to taxpayers at all. I'll finish up quickly. I'm a taxpayer in this district. I've been teaching here 29 years. I make $89,000 and change. And the district gets a discount from me because part of my salary goes right back to our general fund. I encourage you to come join us in this endeavor. Let's try to get ourselves a multi-year deal done, a full contract that addresses all the inequities, not only in salary, but in some of the other issues in the contract that can help this be an attractive place for teachers to come. Thank you.
Upcoming activities, Columbus Day is Monday, October 11th. We will have no school and the district office will be closed. Our next BOE meeting will be October 20th. We have nothing to go back into executive session, so I need a motion to adjourn. Mrs. Klein, a second. Mrs. Burns, all in favor? Aye.